The rain had just started falling when Ethan Cole pulled his old pickup truck onto the side of the empty highway. The orange glow of sunset faded behind dark storm clouds while his 8-year-old daughter Lily sat quietly in the passenger seat coloring in a small notebook. Ethan rubbed his tired eyes after another 12-hour shift at the auto garage. Life had not been easy since his wife passed away 3 years earlier. Every day was the same endless routine: work, bills, school lunches, bedtime stories, and trying to be both a father and a mother for Lily. He never complained though. Lily was his entire world. As they drove home through the lonely mountain road, Ethan noticed a luxury red car parked on the shoulder with its hood open. A woman stood beside it in high heels, arms crossed tightly against the cold wind. Most drivers sped past without stopping, but Ethan slowed down immediately. "Daddy, are we helping her?" Lily asked softly. Ethan smiled. "Of course. Nobody should be stranded out here alone." He parked behind the expensive car and stepped out into the rain. The woman turned around impatiently at first, but the second her eyes met his, everything froze. Ethan's heart nearly stopped. It was her. Sophia Loren. The girl he had once loved more than anything. The girl who disappeared from his life 10 years ago without a goodbye. She looked different now, more elegant, more powerful, but those deep brown eyes were exactly the same. Sophia stared at him in complete shock. "Ethan," she whispered. He swallowed hard. "Long time no see." For a moment neither of them spoke. The sound of rain hitting the pavement filled the silence between two people carrying years of unanswered questions. Sophia quickly looked away, trying to hide her emotions. "My car overheated," she said quietly. "I called roadside assistance, but they said it could take hours." Ethan nodded and leaned under the hood without another word. Even after all these years, memories came rushing back like a storm. Late night walks. Cheap coffee dates. Dreams about building a future together. Then suddenly one day she was gone. No explanation. No message. Nothing. Ethan tightened a loose hose and checked the engine while Sophia stood nearby awkwardly. She glanced toward the truck where little Lily waved innocently through the window. Sophia's expression softened instantly. "Your daughter?" she asked. Ethan smiled proudly. "Yeah. That's Lily." Sophia looked surprised. "She's beautiful." "Thanks," Ethan replied. "She's all I got." Something about the way he said it made Sophia's eyes fill with sadness. Before she could respond, Lily suddenly jumped out of the truck carrying a pink umbrella. "Daddy, you're getting soaked," she shouted while running toward him. Ethan laughed softly. "I'm okay, sweetheart." Lily noticed Sophia standing there and smiled politely. "Hi." Sophia knelt slightly despite the rain. "Hi there." Lily handed Ethan the umbrella, then looked curiously at Sophia. "Are you famous?" she asked innocently. Sophia blinked in surprise. Ethan chuckled. "Why would you ask that?" Lily pointed at the luxury car. "Because only famous people have cars like this." For the first time that evening, Sophia laughed genuinely. Ethan almost forgot how beautiful her laugh was. "Not famous," Sophia replied gently. "Just someone who works too much." Ethan closed the hood after finishing the repair. "You should be good now," he said. Sophia looked impressed. "You fixed it already." "Comes with being a mechanic." She hesitated before speaking again. "Thank you, Ethan." "Really?" He nodded quietly, preparing to leave, but Sophia suddenly stopped him. "Wait." Ethan turned around. Her eyes searched his face carefully, almost painfully. "Can we talk?" she asked softly. Ethan looked away toward the dark highway. 1,000 emotions battled inside him. Part of him wanted to drive away forever. Another part had waited years for this moment. Lily tugged gently on his sleeve. "Daddy," she looked sad. Ethan sighed deeply. "There's a diner about 10 minutes from here," Sophia said. "Please." After a long pause, Ethan finally agreed. Inside the small roadside diner, warm lights reflected against the windows while rain poured outside. Lily happily ate pancakes while Ethan and Sophia sat across from each other in silence. Sophia looked nervous, something Ethan had never seen before. Finally she spoke. I never wanted to leave you. Ethan's jaw tightened instantly. Then why did you? Sophia stared down at her coffee cup. My father found out about us. He said if I stayed with you, he'd cut me off completely. No money. No future. Nothing. Ethan laughed bitterly. So you chose money? No. Sophia's voice cracked. I chose survival. Tears filled her eyes as she continued. You remember how sick my mother was? We needed millions for her treatment. My father controlled everything. He threatened me, Ethan. Ethan sat frozen while years of anger slowly began breaking apart. Sophia wiped her tears quickly. I wanted to call you so many times. But every day that passed, it became harder. Lily quietly watched both of them from across the booth. Sophia looked toward her and smiled sadly. I heard about your wife, she whispered. Ethan nodded slowly. Cancer. Sophia covered her mouth emotionally. I'm so sorry. Ethan looked exhausted suddenly, like carrying years of pain alone had finally become too heavy. Life doesn't really go how you plan it, he murmured. Sophia stared at him with regret written all over her face. I never stopped loving you. The words hung heavily in the air. Ethan looked stunned. His heart wanted to believe her, but pain still guarded him like a wall. Before he could respond, Lily suddenly smiled brightly. Daddy talks about you sometimes. Ethan nearly choked on his coffee. Lily. Sophia's eyes widened. You do. Ethan looked embarrassed. Only old memories. Sophia smiled softly through tears. For the first time in years, hope quietly returned to her heart. Outside, the storm finally began to clear. The rain slowed. The dark clouds parted slightly, allowing moonlight to shine across the wet road. Ethan glanced out the window thoughtfully. Maybe life had brought them together again for a reason. Maybe some stories were never truly finished. Sophia reached across the table carefully, her hand trembling. After a long hesitation, Ethan slowly placed his hand over hers. Lily grinned happily while stuffing another bite of pancake into her mouth. And somewhere in that tiny roadside diner, between old heartbreak and second chances, two broken hearts quietly began finding their way back home. If you enjoyed this emotional story, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more powerful love and life-changing stories every week.